been in the city since I was 2, and I certainly wouldn't say that I was stuck in a rut. Stuck in a rut. Stuck in a rut.
Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 underrated Monty Python sketches.
Company secretary, the effect of which was...
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
For this list, we'll be going over some of the sketches from Monty Python's Flying Circus that are often overlooked, or at least not as frequently discussed. If there's a hidden gem of a Python sketch that's not to be seen on our list, please tell us your favourites in the comments. Number 10. Exploding Penguin on the Telly. The Pythons frequently appeared in drag as batty older women. In this sketch, 2 of these stock Pepperpot characters listen to the surprisingly graphic death of Mary Queen of Scots on the radio before their radio explodes.
By Bernard Hollywood and Brian London. And now, Radio 4 will explode.
While waiting for the television to warm up, the 2 Pepperpots discuss the strange penguin on top of their set, its origins, and whether or not lions molt.
What happens when they molt? Lions don't molt! No, but penguins do. They'll run rings round you logically.
When the TV finally turns on, the announcer tells them the penguin will explode, which it does. It's just 2 old ladies talking, but the strange exclamations they make and the leaps their conversation takes are incredibly funny.
How did he know that was going to happen?
It was an inspired guess.
Number 9. Merchant Banker. John Cleese excels at playing despicable upper-class types, and in this sketch, he plays a merchant banker. After extorting a ridiculous amount of collateral over the telephone to a man hoping for a loan, he has a meeting with Mr. Ford.
I wondered whether you'd like to contribute to the orphan's home.
Well, I don't want to show my hand too early.
Ford is part of a charity for an orphanage and tries to secure a modest donation. The only problem is that the money-hungry merchant banker can't fathom the idea of giving away money for nothing in return.
It's a gift.
A what?
A gift.
Oh, a gift! A tax dodge!
And once he finally does understand it, he decides to take the exciting new idea for making money and drop Ford through a trap door. The satire of banks remains as relevant as ever today, and Cleese is wonderfully vile as the banker.
Nice to do business with you.
Number 8. Deja Vu. Have we done this one before? It feels like we already... Anyway, this sketch follows the presenter of a fictional program called It's the Mind, in which the host details the phenomenon of deja vu.
On It's the Mind, we examine the phenomenon of deja vu. That strange feeling we sometimes get that we live...
And then he does it again, and then the intro starts. Finally, he rushes to a psychiatrist, only for him to repeat the action several times.
Wait, haven't I seen you somewhere before?
No, Doctor, no. Something very funny is happening to me.
When he gets there, the episode ends. The host's gradual descent into panic is hilarious to watch, but it's the use of the format of television to put the audience inside the mind of someone with deja vu that makes this sketch so memorable.
I have this terrible feeling of deja vu.
Number 7. Oscar Wilde sketch. The Pythons portray many historical figures, and in this one, Oscar Wilde hosts James Whistler, George Bernard Shaw, and King Edward VII at a cocktail party. Wilde makes a witticism, which Whistler then piggybacks on and upstages the playwright.
There's only one thing in the world worse than being witty, and that is not being witty.
Wilde then tries to pass off an embarrassing remark as Whistler's, which Whistler handles gracefully before returning the favour.
Your Highness, you're also like a stream of bat spits.
What?
It was one of Wilde's, one of Wilde's.
It's sodding was not!
When Wilde shifts the guilt onto Shaw, he also makes a witty remark. Wilde and Whistler team up to ruin him. Shaw manages to escape in a most unexpected way, though.
I merely meant, Your Majesty, that you shine out like a shaft of gold when all around is dark.
The clever turns of phrase and historical figures throwing each other under the bus make this sketch fantastic, but it's all set up for a spectacularly juvenile punchline. Number 6. Society for putting things on top of other things. An august body of men in dinner jackets gather for some very serious business. They are the Royal Society for Putting Things on Top of Other Things.
This year, our members have put more things on top of other things than ever before.
The chairman congratulates the members on all their hard work in putting things on top of other things. While he's disturbed to relate that he saw something that wasn't on top of something else, at least it means they still have a reason to gather, because their work isn't done. However, one of the branch heads reveals that they all find it a bit silly.
Well, Mr. Chairman, it's just that most of the members in Staffordshire feel the whole thing's a bit silly.
The chairman agrees and immediately disbands the organisation for good. The sketch may be low on jokes, but its satire of meaningless meetings and organisations is positively timeless.
What have we been doing wasting our lives with all this nonsense? Right, okay, meeting adjourned forever.
Number 5. RAF banter. In this sketch set during one of the World Wars, an RAF squadron leader returns to base to relate an encounter with a German aircraft. However, rather than just say what happened, the squadron leader tells the story using typical pilot banter that replaces every other noun with a colourful metaphor.
Flipped over on his Betty Harpers and caught his cat in the batty.
Unfortunately for him, none of the officers in the hut can make head nor tails of what he's saying. He worries that there's something wrong with his banter, but another pilot rushes in and no one can understand him either.
Do you understand that?
No, I didn't get a word of it.
The banter is evocative and silly throughout. The serpent's chit-chat blows down the goose and the gander, you might say.
No, still don't get it.
Number 4. Agatha Christie sketch. Murder mystery sketches appear several times throughout Flying Circus, but this one is unique. Jasmina and John arrive home to find her father dead, apparently murdered. However, the pair of them, as well as the various other characters who arrive, all seem to be more concerned with talking about trains and their schedules.
That doesn't matter now, he's dead.
Oh, poor Daddy.
Looks like I shan't be catching the 11:30 now.
Improbably, Jasmina's brother is exposed as the murderer through complex deductions that he is lying about his alibi because of the cast's intimate knowledge about railway timetables. Of course, once the playwright, Neville Shunt, is introduced, all becomes clear. It may be a load of rubbish about train scheduling, but there are some wonderfully absurd jokes, including a running gag about whether the deceased has been, as well as this gem.
How could anyone shoot himself and then hide the gun without first cancelling his reservation?
Number 3. Working-Class Playwright. Sex and Violence. This sketch sees a young man named Ken return home to London, where his put-upon mother greets him warmly, while his disgruntled working-class father ridicules him at every turn.
Oh, Dad, look who's come to see us. It's our Ken.
It's a cliched setup, but Monty Python have turned it upside down. Ken is a coal miner, while his overly critical father is a playwright.
Tungsten carbide drills? What the bloody hell's tungsten carbide drill?
Eventually, Ken's father's writer's cramp acts up, and Ken is asked to leave, as his father derides him for being a labourer. Working-Class Playwright is a fantastic twist on a familiar story, and Graham Chapman's delivery really sells it.
One day you'll realise there's more to life than culture. There's dirt and smoke and good honest sex.
Get out, you labourer!
Number 2. Secret Service Dentists. A man named Arthur Lemming goes into a bookshop to make a purchase. However, the apparent bookseller, Stapleton, acts very suspiciously, claiming there are no books for sale and trying to speak to Lemming in code.
Good morning, I'd like to buy a book, please.
Well, I'm afraid we don't have any.
He eventually pulls a gun when Lemming asks for a book on false teeth. Stapleton and Lemming are then confronted by a succession of criminals who demand information on a set of fillings, while also wielding bigger and bigger weapons.
This is an anti-tank gun and it's loaded.
These dental criminals eventually break for lunch, and Lemming calls in some dentists to catch them. This miniature, dental-themed spy story is surprisingly compelling, and Lemming's cluelessness and the various eccentricities of the cast make us laugh, even without the gas. Number 1. Woody and Tinny Words. 1942 England sees the upper-class Vernon Jones family sitting and remarking on their croquet hoops. The father, Mansfield, remarks on how he favours wood ones, as well as words that sound like wood.
You can't beat wood. Gone.
What's gone, dear?
Nothing. No, just like the word, it gives me confidence.
What follows is an absurd debate about which words sound like wood and which like tin. Mansfield becomes a little too excited upon discovering that most naughty words sound woody. His daughter Rebecca can't stand the sound of the word tin.
Tinny sort of word. Tin.
Oh, dear, don't say tin to Rebecca. You know how it upsets her.
Sorry, old horse.
Even one of the RAF banter pilots shows up. The sketch is simultaneously like something you might talk about after a few drinks, and something that only Monty Python could devise.
Dead, is she?
Afraid so.
What a blow for her.
You agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojoUK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.